Hello there and welcome back to another review. So going to be having a look at a bit more anime today. Now, reviewed the Street Fighter 2 animated movie ages and ages and ages ago. One of my favourites when I was really young, when I was about 9-10 years old. Absolutely loved the Street Fighter 2 animated movie. So I thought I'd have a look at the Tekken motion picture as it's known. Now, me and my friend at the time were so hyped for this, right? We were mad about Tekken at the time. Around that sort of period of 97 to 99, he was more into... I absolutely loved Tekken, but my friend at the time, he was gone, right? He was mad for anything Tekken. We used to play Tekken 2 to the early hours in the morning. We were just... absolutely loved it, right? Absolutely mad Tekken guys back in the day. So hyped for this. And I think it was originally like a two-part OVA, I think it is. And I think that's how it was released in Japan anyway. But over here, I think it was ADV Films who released it, if I can remember my anime sort of VHS companies back in the day who released it. And it was sort of labelled as sort of the motion picture, like the Tekken movie, the Tekken film, whatever you want to call it. So I was like... because I was more like the Street Fighter guy, he was more the Tekken guy, but we both loved each one, but he was more, as I say, more Tekken. So we were both looking forward to this. And I remember it was one weekend, he brought it round. I think he'd already seen it, and he was like, he didn't really give me any opinions on it. He was just sort of, see what you think, that kind of thing. So, like, when you think back to just quickly going over the Tekken games, when you think back, I still even now think, I know a lot of people laud Tekken 3, but I even now think Tekken 2 is one of the best, not just beat 'em ups, but one of the best video games that's ever been made. I think it's an absolutely amazing game, Tekken 2. Still one of the best fighting games of all time in terms of leaps and improvements that it made over its predecessor. And it was one of the main reasons, Tekken 2, why I picked up a PS1 when I was mainly sort of a Nintendo guy up to that point. But like I say, my friend had Tekken and sort of games like that, and I was like, sort of, I've got to get this. Like, I was so into it. So it was mainly Tekken 2. This is how important Tekken was for me back in the day. As I say, it made me want to get a whole console. You know, this is how important Tekken was. Now, I know Tekken is still massive now, but back in that time, in the, like I say, mid to late 90s, Tekken was a big deal, especially if you were a PS1 gamer. Anyway, was so hyped for this movie. Now, of course, I absolutely loved the Street Fighter 2 anime, the movie, and even loved Street Fighter 2 V, the animated series. I'm not sure if any of you out there have seen Street Fighter 2 the animated, like Street Fighter 2 V, the animated series, but it's really good. It's really worth checking out. And I really was hoping like this movie, this OVA, whatever you want to call it, was going to be sort of Tekken's answer to what Street Fighter had done. I was hoping this was going to be the Tekken anime that we wanted. We're going to see the characters fleshed out more. We're going to get more personality of the characters rather than just sort of FMV sequences or sort of what you'd read in manuals or backstories up to that point. You were looking forward, or I was looking forward to seeing these characters fleshed out, to see how they are on screen, to see their dynamic with one another, and everything like that. And I really had high hopes for this movie. The characters and the King of Iron Fist tournament, given the amount of care and attention in terms of animated movie narrative, is what I was looking for. Unfortunately, by and large, that was not to be the case. It was released in the UK as sort of a movie, even though, like I said, I think in Japan it was a two-parter, I do believe. Tekken, I always felt, I said this in my Tekken movie review way back when, that I always felt he was given sort of the short end of the stick with things in terms of, like, still great games, still sold amazingly well. But where Street Fighter sort of had a good anime, it had quite a good anime series behind it. The movie, less said about that, the better. But it was like the Tekken movie, the original Tekken movie, that should have come along much quicker than much sooner than what it did. It was almost like, I know there are fans of the Tekken movie with John Fu, but I think it should have happened 10 years earlier than what it did. But anyway, I always felt Tekken was not given sort of a fair hand when it come to sort of media outlets outside of the video game. So the live action motion picture was too little too late, and it was just, unfortunately, I think, a poor effort. Now then, when I say, I mean it gets lots wrong, like this anime. It's almost like the writers here did not understand what the actual game was about. I think the biggest crime with this movie is that there's so many characters who just, like you wanted to see from Tekken in anime form, are given next to no screen time and no dialogue whatsoever, and that is a huge problem. Like, it's a shame, but it's a big problem. Now, of course, I know that like the Tekken roster is huge and they could only fit so much in, but like with the reboot of the Mortal Kombat movie, rather than trying to cram everything in, why not just do the first game but in like a movie form? Why try and cram loads into once? I'd much rather a film where they take, say, 6-7 characters but flesh them characters out really well and make them interact with each other, give each one sort of an arc or purpose, a plot, anything like that. Not, oh, there's King in the background just for no reason, but there's King, there's Jack, you see him for 2 minutes, there, Jack's gone, that kind of thing, rather than trying to cram everything in. Where, of course, it is so short, it doesn't know where it wants to go, and when it finally sort of does, it's too late. That's the problem with this anime. Characters aren't fleshed out, there isn't much in the way of fighting or one-on-one battles or anything like that. I think, by and large, the whole film is largely forgettable. I mean, I will call it a movie. It is labelled as Tekken the Movie or Tekken the Motion Picture. And if anything, I think the biggest crime with this anime is that it's really disrespectful to Tekken. I think it's disrespectful to Tekken. And I think, well, especially the franchise and what it is. Dare I say, I think the live-action movie gets more right in this film than what this does. And that does pay me to say, as that film does, I know it's mentioned, I know there's a lot of fans of the Tekken movie, but that movie does still get a lot wrong, believe you and me. And as for Tekken 2, Kazuya's Revenge, or Kazuya, however you want to say it, I can't even go into that film. But, at least there was an effort here there to try and give the fans what they wanted, I suppose, sort of with the Tekken movie. But here, I was just so disappointed with this movie, and I will be getting into today. I sort of will go through the movie quite quickly because it's only short. It's only like, altogether, it's only about 50 minutes long. But there's a lot of problems with it. There's a lot of problems with it. And as I said, I know the time was short. I know probably the budget wasn't there. And this is what I'm talking about when Tekken sort of had a short hand. It's like Street Fighter, have a big budget, get a great director, then not only that, but Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, the original movie, they incorporate all the characters, okay, like people like Zangief and sort of like DJ and characters like that, and Blanca are sort of there, then they're gone. T-Hawk's another one. But by and large, everyone in that Street Fighter 2 animated movie sort of gets the sort of justice they deserve, and you sort of get a glimpse of who they are. Not so much with the Tekken movie. So even the opening of this movie, you're off to a bad start, right? You're off to a completely bad start right away. It'll confuse you right away. Like I say, you could have the King of the Iron Fist tournament, and I don't even think the writers even know what that is at this point. We learn something about an aggressive memory gene that has remained on Earth, and in all living things, the act of fighting is a true act, and the act of Tekken is the key to life. And this is how this narrator says, not Tekken, it's Tekken. For whatever reason, if you watch this movie, I think it's actually uploaded to YouTube, but if you watch it, Tekken is the key to life or something. So it starts with Heihachi and a young Kazuya and him throwing me off the cliff, which is sort of keeping with the game. So I was like, okay, right, this might be okay. But I remember when my friend brought it round that morning, he was like, just watch it and tell me what you think. And we watched it together, and we both sort of looked at each other afterwards. Bearing in mind, we was only about 13 at the time, 12, 13, give or take. And it was sort of, what the hell is this? Like, what the hell is this thing that we're watching right now? So, as I say, with the Heihachi and Kazuya and the throwing him off the cliff, which I know is a big deal back in the origins of the Heihachi Kazuya's sort of story, I was like, this might be okay. We meet Jun Kazama, who wakes up dreaming about it. She gets informed of this fossilized remains, and they have no idea what gene it is, and the cells must have been man-made, which is illegal. So Jun is like an Interpol agent, right? And her bosses want her to infiltrate the Mishima conglomerate, as they fear they might be developing bioweapons. So it's got even a whole sort of Resident Evil thing going on as well. The Mishima Corporation sponsors a martial arts tournament, and Jun gets an invite from her boss as cover, and there's like a $1 billion prize. Lei Wulong is tasked with assisting her, and he is like, and for some reason he's in his Tekken 2 get up, like the blue sort of kung fu jacket rather than sort of his cop uniform, but he wears sort of his Tekken 2 blue kung fu attire. Li Xiaolan wants Kazuya out of the way, as Li feels he has made Mishima what he is according to him, and wants Nina to take him out. We get a flashback of like Kazuya climbing out of the chasm and vows to kill his father. Now the animation is passable at best. I mean, it's okay, but it isn't the greatest animation you ever see, and I'm glad they involved the Li storyline. Like, it's nice that Lee was in it. I think Lee would have really benefited from being in the live action movies as well, especially 2, Kazuya's Revenge. They could have done a whole Lee Kazuya Heihachi story in that one. But they just, oh God, I can't stand Kazuya's Revenge. So Kazuya wakes up after dreaming, and suddenly Nina just machine guns his ass and smashes through the window, as well as throwing a grenade into his apartment, to which Kazuya dives out the window. Have to have breasts in the movie, don't we? We see Chun-Li's in Street Fighter, and now we see Anna's in this one. I'm just assuming you know who the Tekken characters are at this point, with Anna, Nina, Lee, and all that. So if you don't, you'll have to forgive me and just bear with me. So Lei is apparently known, like, he knows of an underground facility that he got from the US intelligence. They go to get on board a boat, like to sort of go to the Tekken tournament, and we meet Bruce and Jack, who have to fight in order so Jack can get on the boat. Bruce Irvin is working as a bodyguard for Lee. There is just nothing grand about this movie. It is labelled as a motion picture when released over here, and plays something like you would see. It plays like something you would see on a Saturday morning cartoon show. That's how this really comes across. Jack wins the fight after landing sort of Bruce in the water. Jun has a go at Lei as he keeps putting down women, apparently. I don't recall him doing that, but he apparently just keeps putting down women. I did like how Lei and Jun are pretty much front and centre, but what that means is everyone else doesn't get anything else going on. It was quite nice because you're sort of, who's the main? Kazuya sort of is the main character, but it's really largely sort of Jun and Lei who are front and centre, and I thought that was quite cool. But as I say, what that means is everyone else doesn't have anything going on, or doesn't even get a chance to. So Kazuya jumps on the boat from a bridge. Jun was there when he was younger, and when Heihachi threw him off the cliff. Though she does keep saying the boy from the past, so obviously didn't know him too well. Like, she just refers to him as the boy from the past. Love as well when she goes to see him and asks, "Why are you so upset? Is it because your father threw you off that cliff?" Well, yeah, it might have something to do with it, Jun. It might have a small little percentage as to why he's so angry. You know, the fact his own father did throw him off a cliff. She's like, is that why you're so upset and still angry? Yeah, probably, Jun. You might have worked that one out. So Jun said she climbed down the cliff to help him, as for some reason no adults would listen to help her. So, this boy's just been thrown off the cliff, and according to Jun and what happened, no adults were willing to help Kazuya out. Never mind, it's like, a boy's just been thrown down the cliff. Oh, never mind, dinner's ready. Can't help the guy, sorry. So Kazuya somehow sold his soul to the devil or something to get revenge. Plus he has like a chest scar. So carrying on as Lee sort of wants him dead, Nina tries to strangle him with some wire, and then Anna just like fires a bazooka at him. Like, they really want Kazuya out of the way. To which Jun saves him, and I have to love how she can sense spirits and auras, but she senses all these spirits and auras but decides to work for Interpol. Okay, so finally the tournament gets underway, and you're like, oh, right, the tournament, finally, we're going to see some fighting, we're going to get some more characters, we're going to finally get some Tekken as we know it, like, want it to be. So it gets underway, and the fighters have to, get through this jungle to a tower. Heihachi says you would get the title of World's Strongest. I thought it was King of the Iron Fist. So again, are you sure these animators have done the research? Are you sure these script writers know exactly what they're talking about? Now, this is when you realise at this point in the anime, this is the point you realise that characters like Yoshimitsu, Paul, King are just background fodder. They are just background fodder and are just there to be there, nothing more. And the fights, what fights? What fights are in this movie? Like, Kazuya beats Beck, Michelle beats Ganru in 2-second fights, more like just brief encounters rather than actual fights, because they put Beck Dusan in there, and I was like, oh, we're going to see Beck, and it's like, no, just, he's gone, rather than, Ganru's there, nope, he's gone. Lei is busy trying to sneak into the underground base and is saved by Jack, who throws someone headfirst into a rock wall with his head and splattering everywhere. And Jack is looking for Dr. Boskonovich to save the girl he is with as her life is diminishing or something like that. So Kazuhiro actually goes to kill Michelle. Again, if you don't know who the characters are from the video game, you will have to forgive me. I'm just assuming you do. Kazuhiro goes to kill Michelle, who wants revenge on Heihachi too, but is saved by Jun. Jack and Lei are approached by some P-Jacks, and as I say, so sorry if you don't know your techie characters here, so I'm sort of just assuming you do. Lei finds the bioweapons, and out of all the characters they could put into this anime, out of all of the characters, even Roger the kangaroo makes an appearance in the movie. I mean, out of everybody in, Roger gets more of a respect than sort of other characters do. So they find Dr. Boskonovich, and at this point I was just asking myself, where the hell is King? Where is Law? Where is Paul? Where are all the fights? Where are these characters? Now this is where the film goes from bad to just downright stupid. It goes all Jurassic Park as Lee unleashes some dinosaurs, one of which bites Anna's head off. I know we get Alex in Tekken, who is a dinosaur, but even still, you know, we find out the girl Jack is with sort of awakened a conscience inside him that made him want to search for the doctor or something. And I love when fighting the dinosaurs, because he was like, there's something wrong here. Yeah, damn right there's something wrong. This ain't Tekken, that's what's wrong. And you're fighting dinosaurs. That is what's wrong. And it's just really, I'm so frustrated with this movie thinking about it and watching it again recently. It's like, is that the best you could do in terms of giving sort of Tekken sort of the fan service it deserved? So Kazuya does what anyone would do, starts punching through their heads and ripping their jaws open. Kazuya beats Lee in all of 8 seconds. Again, no fights in this whatsoever. Not sure as well why they didn't just all band together and storm the tower and just split the prize money. Like, there's no reason why they couldn't just do that. It's like, well, if we just got to go towards that tower, we just split it. You know, everybody's a winner that way. Not like it was an actual tournament anyway. It's not like Enter the Dragon or anything like that. You know, just running through the jungle and fight the person you see. That's what it is. It's proper, you know, Rambo. It's like free-for-all, survival of the fittest. You just run through this jungle. If someone looks at you funny, you just fight them. But they don't have to fight. It's not like anybody's forcing them to fight. So as I say, they could just band together. With dinosaurs included as well. So Lee, being the sore loser that he is, slaughters his workforce and hits the self-destruct button. We've got to have a self-destruct. The whole thing of Heihachi and the age-old thing of the only way to save the world is to build a new one. That's sort of his gimmick here. Jack gets smashed to pieces by an automatic door, helping Lei and Dr. Boskonovich escape. They used like this submarine to escape now. And again, at this point, I was just thinking, what about all the other fighters? Where are they? Are they going to survive this sort of meltdown? Are they alive, dead? What is going to happen? But at least they do show them all injured and are still there after the island blows up. So at least they do show the fighters are all okay, and they're sort of helping each other and propping each other up at this point. So again, if you're all sort of helping each other, why don't you just help each other anyway? Jun managed to get through to Kazuya, and they, along with Heihachi, fall off a cliff through that, like, they sort of fall through this cliff, though they are fine, and all escape as the island blows up. And in the end, we see a young Jin with his mother Jun saying the wind has changed. That's the end. Like, you see Jin at the end as a young boy, and at the start of this movie as well, quick side note, you see characters from Tekken 3. Like, because sort of Tekken 3 was hot at the time. They're not in it, though. No Ling Xiao Yu, no Harang, nothing like that. No Brian Fury, nothing. It's mainly Tekken 2. But at the start of this movie, you see very quick glimpses of Tekken 3 characters. And again, why put them at the front if they're not even in the movie? But what a shame. What a shame. What a real shame. This could have been much more. And yes, I fully get it was only 60 minutes and it was just a 2-part. And it's one of them things, as always, they are trying to cram everything in and please everyone. But at the same time, they please no one. It's like, right, we've only got an hour. We've got 60 minutes. Right, well, let's have them fight some dinosaurs. You know, why waste time on that? You could have, like, scrap a couple of the characters, forget the dinosaurs, just focus on 5 characters, but do it really well. But at the same time, they please no one. Could have done with some slightly better animation, could have done with more fighters having dialogue, could have done with less fighting dinosaurs, could have done with understanding the Tekken lore and being respectful to it a lot more. And I can really only recommend this to die-hard fans only. I think it's definitely one you can swerve if you're not really, and unless you're a Tekken die-hard, there really is no need to see this movie. It's what you get here is largely throwaway and for the most part forgettable. But it's just a real shame. It's just a real shame, this movie. But if you have seen Tekken the motion picture or Tekken the anime, the original 98 animation, make sure to let me know what you think of it. Was it as painful for you as it was for me? Because watching it again now, it still just doesn't hold up. But it's just a shame. I'm angry at it, but I just think it's, as I say, disrespectful to Tekken, and I just think they could have done so much better with that 60 minutes. So thank you very much indeed for watching. Hope you enjoyed the review. See you again soon.
Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.